All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into the legal system of the United Kingdom. Now, I know you might be thinking jargon, complexity, boring stuff, right? Well, forget all that. We're going to break it down into a clear, simple guide to how it all works, and more importantly, why it actually matters to you.
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? It can seem like this huge, complicated machine. But here's the thing. Understanding the basics is super important because these laws, they touch pretty much every part of our lives. So the big question is, where do we even begin? Well, it all starts right here with this one single, really powerful idea. It doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, or where you come from. The law in the UK is designed to treat everyone the same. This principle, it's the absolute bedrock of the entire system.
Okay, let's dive in. To make sense of it all, you just need to know that UK law is basically split into two major categories, criminal and civil. Think of them as two completely different paths of justice, each one designed to handle very different kinds of problems.
So here's the main difference in a nutshell. Criminal law is about offenses that are seen as being against the society as a whole. You know, the kind of things that the police investigate. Civil law, on the other hand, that's all about sorting out disagreements between people or maybe businesses.
And this is where you really see how different they are, the outcome. With criminal law, the result can be a serious penalty, like a hefty fine or even prison time. But the goal of civil law isn't to punish. Nope, it's about resolution. It's about putting things right, often with things like financial compensation.
Let's get a bit more specific. Criminal law covers stuff that's considered harmful to the entire community. We're talking about everything from theft and assault to things like carrying a weapon, which, by the way, is illegal even if you say it's for self-defense. These are the big rules the state enforces to keep everyone safe.
And then you flip the coin, and you've got civil law. This is the rule book for all those disagreements that happen in our day-to-day lives. You know, maybe you're having a dispute with your landlord, or a shop sold you something that's broken, or you're facing an issue at work. These aren't crimes, but there's still legal disputes that need a proper way to get sorted out. So we have all these laws, but who actually enforces them, especially on the criminal side of things? Well, that brings us right to the role of the police and their relationship with all of us.
When you boil it all down, the police have three core duties, and they're actually pretty simple to remember. Their job is to protect people and their stuff, to keep things peaceful and orderly, and of course to stop crime from happening in the first place and investigate it when it does. They're there to serve all communities impartially.
Now, this is so important. Police officers are not above the law. They have to follow the same rules as everyone else. They are absolutely held accountable for what they do. And if someone has a complaint, there are independent bodies across the UK to investigate it. So, accountability is built right into the system. It has to be. Okay, so what happens when a dispute just can't be resolved, or when the police charge someone with a crime? That's when the court system gets involved. This is where independent judges step in to make the final calls, all based on the law. I know this table might look a bit complex, but stick with me. For smaller criminal cases in England and Wales, you've got magistrates' courts. For the really serious stuff, it goes to the Crown Court, with a judge and a jury of 12 people. Now, Scotland has its own historic legal system, but you'll see a similar idea with their Justice of the Peace and Sheriff courts. And for civil cases, you're usually looking at county courts. It's all a very structured system, designed to get the right cases to the right place.
And it's also worth knowing there's a totally separate system for young people. In England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, if you're between 10 and 17, you're tried in special youth courts. The rules are different, the public isn't allowed in, and their identities are kept private. The whole focus is just different from the adult system.
But what if your civil dispute is, well, smaller? For any claims under £5,000 in England and Wales, there's a much simpler, more informal way to do things called the small claims procedure. It's designed to be way less intimidating, so you can sort out things like small debts or consumer issues without the headache of a full-blown court case. So all this information is great, but what do you actually do if you need legal help? Knowing where to turn is probably the most practical thing we can talk about.
Here are your go-to resources. You can find a trained lawyer, called a solicitor, through the Law Society. For free, impartial advice, and this is a fantastic starting point, there's the Citizens Advice Bureau. And just a quick tip, if you do go see a solicitor, always clarify the costs right at the start. You don't want any surprises.
So there you have it. From that huge founding principle of equality, all the way down to the specifics of courts and police and getting help, the UK legal system is this massive, complex framework that basically holds society together. But it's not just something that happens to us. It really relies on all of us understanding our rights and our responsibilities. Which leaves us with one last thought. What is your part in it all?